Cloak and Dagger.
Yes. Marvel's Cloak and Dagger.
Runaways crossover win. Waiting.
No. Let's just say you won't be disappointed.
Ooh. Fair enough. Oh.
Okay.
All right.
I have no idea what that means.
We'll find out soon enough.
I mean, it could be cheeseburgers for all of us.
Yeah. What's it like to kind of turn the page on the whole Roxxon story from last season and moving on to something brand new this season?
Well, I think the Roxxon story is something that will always be there. Evil comes in various ways. And anything that sort of touch back to the real world is always a good place for Marvel to be. So it may seem like the story's not about that, but I would always keep an eye out for those folks. But this season is really exciting to us because it's now a chance for the audience to see our heroes really grow and decide we're going to be heroes. The first season is what's happened to us and what are we supposed to do about it.
Right.
And these are all the wrongs that are in the world. Do we have the ability, the right, the stuff to be able to take it on? And this season sort of begins with them saying, we did it, we can, let's take it on. And then it gets slightly mayhemic.
Very well put. Very well put.
Speaking of last season, Tandy's story and Tyrone's story were very interconnected. They were like mirror images of each other.
Correct.
Showing their home lives, their street life, whatever. And I like the way they cut it together. It was really well done. Do you have a scheme this season to show that kind of reflection of their lives, or is you going to totally kind of abandon that and go in a different?
No. The seasons feel very much a piece of an entire story that we're telling. But what you're going to get more this season is them working side by side. So that will obviously change the visual style of what happens. So sometimes it may not be a juxtaposition of one and then the other. Sometimes it may be this is what they're doing, or they're doing the same goal, but they're going at it two different ways, and so that they're not different stories that will eventually cross over. They're two people that are starting together, and then mayhemic will ensue. I think I'm trademarking that by the end of the day.
Someone asked him something about mayhem. Yeah. You look great. So tell us about mayhem.
One would think that in a city that is as complicated as New Orleans is, that for two young heroes, having some kind of adult, I think mentor's too strong a word, but at least someone who can sort of guide them down the path of what's right and what's wrong. And in many ways, that's the role that Bridget O'Reilly provided for them. Now that her life has been, let's say, complicated, there's not someone to turn to as much as someone that they're going to have to deal with. And that provides for great stuff, largely because that triangle of acting, which is Liv and Aubrey and Emma, is just so much fun to watch that I think we'll get some good surprises out of this season.
You mentioned pieces of the storyline. Did you have like a final piece of the story that you did want to tell, that you have something in mind?
You mean after 100 episodes? 1,000 episodes? I mean, one of the things that's so exciting about working on, some shows when you're working on them, you do have a sense that there's an ending to come. And that's where you want to go, and that's where you want to be. What's exciting is that because Joe Kasky began with them as kids, so that you really got to see the origin of where they are, and you don't have all the answers, but at least you are there at the beginning. What we like about it is that season 2 is extremely satisfying in terms of wrapping up a lot of questions, but you know us, we live in a world of to be continued, and so there'll be enough things that hopefully the audience and Freeform will grant us a season 3 and beyond, and we've certainly been talking an awful lot about what the next adventure will be, and I don't think folks will be disappointed with that either.
How do you feel like Ty and Tandy's relationship is going to evolve throughout the season this year?
One of the things about Cloak and Dagger is that they always were equals. One was not the sidekick to the other, one was not more powerful than the other. They were as close to a pair as you could find, really, in the Marvel Universe. And in the same way that they are learning to be heroes, they are learning their powers. So it's not as though one has powers and the other one is trying to sort of catch up that and how am I doing this and what's going on. You know, that's very much the kind of feeling that you get in watching Runaways, is that they're all at sort of different stages. It's almost like they're a basketball team that there's some stars and then there's some people that are just coming off the bench and they're figuring that out, and that makes that drama. What makes the drama and the humor of Cloak and Dagger is that Ty and Tandy are really there to support each other and to sort of watch each other's backs, and you know, it is that sort of partnership that you hope that you have with the person who is really in many ways responsible for your life, and so and hopefully for your joy, and I think that's also, I always come back to Aubrey and Olivia, because when you watch them, the affection that they have for each other, the chemistry that they have with each other is so authentic that it just makes it enjoyable to watch. You know how much they care about each other as people and as professionals and as actors, that it's delightful. And they're still, at least to me, young, and so you know, being able to watch them grow and hone their craft is something that's very exciting.